All right, Matt, and now to that fallout from this weekend's big Britain's Got Talent finale here in London. Shortly after losing the title, Susan Boyle, the Scottish singer whose audition led to instant global fame, was admitted to a London clinic for exhaustion. NBC's Donna Friesen has the latest. Donna, good morning.
Good morning, Meredith. The whole premise of Britain's Got Talent is to make a star out of a nobody, and that's certainly what it did to Susan Boyle. But after all the hype, she came second and is believed to have suffered an emotional breakdown. Last night, she was admitted to a private clinic, said to be exhausted and emotionally drained. She rose so far, so fast. I dreamed a dream in time gone by. Her shy, slightly awkward style made Susan Boyle an unlikely superstar whose story captivated the media and the public. But as quickly as she shot to fame came reports she was cracking, boiling over, swearing at journalists. Then there were snide comments she was unable to stand the pressure and on the verge of walking out. So on the night of the final of Britain's Got Talent, many wondered if she could hold it together. I dream that love never dies. She did. It was another soaring performance, ending with another standing ovation and a shot from Simon Cowell at Boyle's critics.
A lot of people said that you shouldn't even be in this competition, that you're not equipped to deal with it. For what? For you to sit home with your cat and say, I've missed an opportunity. I completely disagree with that. But in the end,
the winner of Britain's Got Talent 2009 is diversity!
The public voted for someone else, a dance troupe called Diversity. Boyle seemed gracious in defeat.
The best people won.
And though there are reports she collapsed in tears backstage, the group that beat her had nothing but praise for her.
She's under a lot of pressure. She's under a lot of pressure to win, and she's such a nice lady behind stage, Charles.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's gonna have a great career.
But first, she has some things to overcome. Last night, after reportedly acting strangely at her London hotel, police and paramedics were called, and Boyle was taken to London's Priory Clinic, said to be exhausted and emotionally drained. It's expected she'll spend several days at this private clinic, which is a specialist facility for dealing with mental health issues. Once she's recovered, she has a bright future if she chooses to pursue it. There are already reports she has a record deal and was set to fly to the United States later this week, though that may be postponed now until she gets better. Meredith?
All right, Donna Friesen, thank you very much. Piers Morgan is one of Britain's Got Talent judges. Piers, good morning to you.
Morning.
I would imagine at this point everything for Susan Boyle is on hold. The travel to the U.S., any recording deal, any touring with the other contestants.
Yeah, we're all just concerned that she gets better very soon. I mean, Susan is emotionally exhausted. You know, I spoke to her yesterday for about half an hour, and she was sometimes laughing, sometimes angry, sometimes nearly tearful.
Did she make sense to you? Is she in the middle of an emotional breakdown?
No. She made perfect sense, and I was able to have a sensible conversation with her about the show and stuff, and she's got no regrets about being in the show. She loved taking part in it, and she wants to live her real dream now, which is to make an album and be a successful recording artist. And I think her performance, I mean, you were there in the audience, was absolutely incredible on Saturday night. She's no problem losing. In fact, she thought the better act won, which is typically gracious of her.
Yeah, but then afterwards her behavior was erratic, to say the least. Reportedly, she went running down the aisle saying, I hate this show, threw water on a floor manager who was trying to calm her down.
Yeah, I think some of that stuff's been exaggerated. I mean, Susan's had the problem of when you get instant global fame like this, then inevitably, over time, the knives come out of it, particularly in the British press, which I used to work in. I understand how aggressive they can get. And, you know, I think Susan reacted quite badly to some of the negative headlines, as anybody would. And also, she's had no sleep, not been eating well, feeling the weight of the world's pressures falling on her. And I think there'll be a bit of relief now, and hopefully she can get somewhere very quiet where she is now and relax and think about it and just get better quickly.
But she has been under a lot of pressure, Piers, and a lot of people talked about her fragile condition. And we saw in the days leading up to the finale that she had several outbursts where she was screaming obscenities. You yourself said she packed her bags at one point and threatened to leave the show. And it's led a lot of people to question whether the show should have put her on at all. Was there any consideration to pulling off the show?
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, everyone's been very concerned generally about the power of this show now and taking someone like Susan and making her a global superstar and what kind of effect that has on her as a human being. But I spoke to Susan almost every day last week, and I kept saying, you want to do this, right? And she said, oh, this is what I want to do. What she didn't like was all the negative stuff that was appearing in the papers. You wake up one day and you've gone from anonymity to being the front page of every British tabloid screaming, cracking up, boiling over. It's going to have an effect on you, and I think that we just need to back off a bit now, collectively.
Well, you're the one who convinced her, really, because she's probably closest to you, certainly of the three judges, and trusts your opinion. You're the one who said, go ahead and do it, just sing that song, and people will remember why they loved you, I Dreamed a Dream. In retrospect, given her behavior, do you have any regrets advising her to go on?
No, and I don't think Susan has. I think that it was unlucky for her. She went in the first audition. She said 7 weeks to wait for the final. And I think, like anything in the modern age where everything's so fast and furious and here today, gone tomorrow, a lot of people in Britain got a bit bored with the Susan Boyle phenomenon, a bit irritated by it. Not her fault. And then you had the negative headlines, and she was beginning to sense that the atmosphere was turning a bit, and she found that very difficult to deal with. But Susan's a very lovely, feisty, kind-natured person. And you have to remember, I will stress this to people, a few weeks ago, her most exciting day of the week was going to church and singing in church. Now she's been singing for the whole world. And to all those who doubted whether she should have taken part, I say, look at that performance in the final. What you saw was an astonishingly courageous performance.
And Piers, to those critics who say, what, shows like this take advantage of people. They care less about the individual than they do the ratings or the dollar signs, essentially.
Well, I care enormously about Susan and will continue to. And I spoke to Simon Cowell last night. He cares about Susan, and everything is on hold. There are no deals in place. There's nothing. All Simon said to me, and I totally agree with him, is Susan must be allowed to get better as quickly as possible and then live whatever dream it is she wants. If she wants to go back to Scotland and walk away from all this, she will have everyone's support. If, as I believe from my conversation with her yesterday, she wants to go and make a stunning album, then I believe, certainly in America, if nowhere else, everyone's going to rush out and buy that. And I think that would make her so happy. And I hope she lives that dream.
And do you feel that, given what you know about Susan, that once she gets through this crisis in her life, that she would be able to deal with fame and the expectations that come with it?
Yeah, I mean, Susan, for about 4 or 5 weeks, dealt with the world's attention with consummate ease, and I was so impressed with the way she dealt with it all. She was appearing on shows like this and just being funny and feisty and independent. She's a great lady, but anybody in the world who's gone from nowhere to 200 million hits on the internet, it's going to be a bit crazy. I mean, I would find it crazy. You would find it crazy. We're experienced in the media game. For a little lady from a Scottish village, it's been an unbelievable roller coaster. Right now, what she needs is peace and quiet, a bit of sleep, some good food, and I think just getting away from the whole media thing. And then I hope she just comes back with a terrific album. That would be so exciting.
Piers Morgan, always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful through all of this. We'll see you on the other side.
Definitely.
America's Got Talent. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And by the way, Diversity is going to join us. They won Britain's Got Talent to teach us a few moves a little later this morning. And just another reminder, America's Got Talent premieres on June 23rd right here on NBC.